The only gatekeeping you're going to see me doing is keeping it open. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Glacial Geek video. I am Phil, the Glacial Geek, and today I am talking to you about an amazing experience that I had this last weekend from when I'm recording this, and also maybe when you're seeing this. Yes, when it's coming out. So it was last weekend. I was invited up to be a guest at CalmerCon, which is a convention, one-day convention that is designed for people with sensory issues. So people on the spectrum who have issues with the loud noises and like all the chaos that goes on at conventions that prevent them from being able to truly appreciate them and truly enjoy them. They've designed a convention that helps to kind of fill that need for those individuals who can't really truly go to those bigger conventions. It's a smaller event. There's still a bunch of people that were there, and there's a lot of things going on, and a lot of it is designed just basically to create an environment and create a place where people who would not normally be able to engage with the hobby and the nerddom that we all love. That they would not be able to engage with it allows them to do so. And to me, when I was told about this event, about the concept of what it was, I was on board 100%. Like they asked me, and it was Bree who asked me, and she's like, "Hey, would you be willing to come up and be a guest of ours at this event?" And I was like, "Absolutely! This sounds amazing." The idea of people not just wanting to allow others to engage with the hobby, but also finding ways to make it so that they can. Not just being like, that's cool, but actually going out of their way to make it happen is, to me, amazing. Every time I see people doing this kind of thing, to me is wonderful. And I have always been a proponent of more people doing what you like is better. There's a reason that you like it. And if you're trying to keep that to yourself, that's completely backwards from what it could be. Allowing more people in, welcoming more people in, getting more people in to enjoy the hobby that you so enjoy just creates more people enjoying this great thing that you do. And it doesn't take away from what it is that you do. You're allowed to enjoy the hobby however you want, and other people enjoying the hobby, be it in a different way, doesn't take away from your ability to enjoy it. So the existence of CalmerCon does not negate the existence of Adepticon, of Gen Con, of any of these bigger conventions that people may not otherwise be able to go to. It doesn't keep those from happening. It doesn't keep you from going and engaging with them. It just creates a space where people can then enjoy that same kind of community and camaraderie and exposure to a lot of these different geekdoms and nerddoms that are available out there. And to me, being part of that, asked to be a guest to this, spoke to me of I'm doing something right. If they think of me as the person that they want to be part of this, then I know that I'm putting out into the world what it is that I want to do, because I want more and more people to love this hobby that I absolutely love. And if there's anything I can do to try to help make that happen, I want to be a part of that. And that's what I want to talk about, was not just this event, which was incredibly fantastic. That we had like almost twice as many people as they expected to come through the paint and take that they had there. We had the Army Painter graciously provided a bunch of paints that allowed people to explore different avenues that they may not otherwise have been able to. So, if someone doesn't have the ability to concentrate for a long time, they're not going to be able to do a base coat, wait for it to dry, do a wash, wait for it to dry, touch up that base coat, wait for it to dry, do the highlights, and wait for that to dry. We were able to provide speed paints so that they could go in and just get a painted model in one kind of go, which is maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but for certain people, that's about the limit that they can physically do. And we were able to have people leaving there with huge smiles on their face, painting their first model ever, never thinking that they could, always looking at it and being like, well, I can't paint a golden demon. It's like, yeah, neither can I. But It doesn't mean that you can't have fun painting models, And there was a lot of people that were like, oh, well, I don't do wargaming. And it's like, yeah, but you do role-playing, right? Like, wouldn't it be cool to build and paint the character that you love, that you've come up with these huge stories for? It allows you to flesh them out, Seeing the actual monster on the table painted up looking cool adds a whole nother dimension to your TTRPGs. And being able to be out there and spreading this and seeing people leaving being like, I absolutely love this. I want to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this was super fulfilling. The smiles on these kids' faces when they would come and they would paint a model and I'd come up and be like, this is looking amazing was amazing. Like they gave to me more than I feel like I gave to them. But they left super happy. I had parents telling me that they've never had their kids sit still this long because they always had issues with that. But this allowed them to focus on something that brought them peace, that allowed them to enjoy their time. And at the end of the day, the fact that I was able to give that to some people was mind-blowing to me, And again, this kind of event is not the kind of event that I go to and like I'm going to be, raking in the dough. This isn't like reaching out to my audience that I'm trying to curate. This isn't doing like a lot for me business wise or like, career wise. But what it did allow me to do was feel so incredibly fulfilled. And I worked my butt off. Let me tell you, I was bumping. There were people coming through. It got to the point that Bree had to come up to me and was like, you need to sit down and eat your lunch. Otherwise, you're going to pass out. And she was right. I probably would have if she didn't make me do that. But there were so many people that were just so excited that I wanted to be there and help them with it. So for me, it was just an incredible experience and the ability to do that. And it just instilled in me this desire to reach out and try to make this hobby as accessible as humanly possible. I don't run school programs. I don't work for like the Boys and Girls Club. Like there are people out there that do. But what I can do is I can, wherever I'm given the opportunity, reach out and try to make it so that other people can enjoy this hobby. Because to me, that's amazing. And it expands my ability to enjoy this hobby. The more people that are doing it, the more money that goes into it, the more that there is for me to be able to enjoy on a personal level beyond just how I feel and fulfilled by letting them do so. So at the end of the day, if I was to close off my walls, keep myself from engaging with the world, or only pick and choose who I thought was worthy of engaging with, I am now suddenly shortchanging myself. So again, as much as they were super appreciative of what I was able to give to them, I feel like I got way more in return. By tearing down those walls, by opening up accessibility to people that would not normally be able to, I feel so good about what I did that to me, I would never get anywhere near the satisfaction by denying another person access to what it is that I love. And this goes to the crux of there's this sense that like, this is my special thing and you cannot have it. And I get being protective of what it is that you do. But there's a difference between wanting to do what you want to do and preventing other people from being able to do what they want to do. And at the end of the day, nothing changes what you want to do by allowing other people to enjoy what they want to do. And if you feel justified in keeping other people from entering into this hobby, remember that at some point you were on the outside of this hobby and you had to find a way into it. Whether you did it yourself or whether you walked by a store or whether you were invited by a friend or whether you just saw a video and were like, that seems interesting. It doesn't matter. There was always a point at which you did not know about the hobby and then you did know about the hobby. And then once you knew about the hobby, you then had to get into the hobby. And everyone had to take that journey. And that journey looks different for everybody. But everyone was a non-hobbyist at some point in their life. I don't care if you've been doing it since you were 3. I don't care if the first word you uttered was wet blending. It doesn't matter. At some point, you were not a hobbyist. And you had to have people that were willing to welcome you in, that were willing to show you what it was. And at the end of the day, if you're trying to keep other people from enjoying and experiencing that journey, you're denying them the pleasure that you've been able to achieve to no benefit to you. You do not save anything. You do not keep anything. All you do is prevent other people from enjoying. And at the end, I feel that is a huge disservice to the world, to our community, and to you. Because you never know what you will get by welcoming people into your world. The people that I've met in this community doing what I do is incredible. Some of the best people I know are people that I met through this hobby. And imagine if they or someone else had decided that I was not good enough, I was not the right type of person that they wanted to do it. Imagine if I could not be here doing what I love because someone else decided that I was not the right type to do it. That's garbage. My life would be completely different, and in my opinion, probably worse if someone had tried to put up the gates for me. So why would I ever want to put up the gates for anyone else? If you want to go out and paint your army a different color, sounds great. I'm not going to prevent you. I have green Raven Wing bikers because I like green better than painting black. And to me, that's fine. There are people that don't want to paint. That's cool. There are people that only want to paint. That's rad. There are people that just like the lore and want to engage with the lore. Perfect. At the end of the day, we each find our way to engage and enjoy this hobby. And none of us, I don't care if you are James Workshop himself, can tell anyone else that they cannot enjoy this hobby. You don't have to engage with everyone if you disagree with what they say or do, but to try to pretend that you have more of a right to engage in the hobby your way than they do in their way is where I have an issue. So I don't think you have to play with anyone that you don't want to play with. I don't think you have to watch anyone's videos that you don't want to watch. I don't think you have to paint with anyone or paint any model that you don't want to paint. But you don't get the right to tell someone else that they're not allowed to do that. You know, there's this fallacy about tolerance, that you have to tolerate everything if you want to be tolerant. But at the end of the day, to truly be tolerant, you have to be intolerant of intolerance. Otherwise, it falls apart. So that's where I draw my line. I don't care if you personally want to go off and paint things strictly to the lore that came out in specifically 1995. Bully, that's great. But you don't get to tell me that I can't change that. And I don't get to tell you that you have to change that. I don't have to accept you trying to deny me access to this hobby. I don't have to accept you trying to deny other people access to this hobby. I don't have to accept you trying to deny people enjoying this hobby the way they want to. Because at the end of the day, that just leads to more and more divisiveness. It leads to an insular community, and it leads to collapse. When you don't have a welcoming community, you will slowly find that your community becomes smaller and smaller and smaller until it just disappears. If you try to tell people that they can only play a certain way, you're going to start finding that you have less and less people that actually want to play with you. If you start telling people that they can only paint models in a certain way, you're going to find that you're going to have less and less people that want to engage with you about painting models. Now, when you tear down those walls, when you open those gates, when you allow people in, you never know who's going to be coming in with them. The number of people that I talked to who were telling me that like their dad paints, but they never thought that they could, to me means that I was able to open up a doorway so now maybe that family can enjoy this hobby together. All because I was willing to go to an event created to increase access to this hobby. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And who knows, maybe that father will end up being like someone that I play at a tournament. Or maybe when this kid grows up, they might be across the table from me playing in a tournament. I will be super old. But that's fine. I can do that. As long as they don't, have a problem with grandpa being like, back in my day, we used to have to roll dice instead of just think them. I don't know. Whatever happens in the future. But regardless, by opening that door, by allowing people in, giving them access to enjoying this hobby that we love, we create a community that is sustainable, we create a community that grows, and we create more opportunities for us to enjoy the hobby. If the wargaming hobby, if the miniature painting hobby had stopped growing back in 2004, we would not have the breadth of models, the breadth of techniques, the breadth of products, the breadth of games that are out there. They only came to be because we decided to increase the visibility. And this is going to show my age, and it's going to, appreciate why I've got these white streaks here. But I remember 10 years ago when I started this channel, I was one of a handful in existence. And I've had people from some of the top channels that you watch out there. Stephen Box from Vanguard Tactics, Tabletop Tactics, Tabletop Titans. They've come to me and been like, hey, I used to watch your videos when I was starting off, and they were part of why I did what I did. Imagine I had set a barrier up and decided that Stephen Box, he's too good looking. He can't do miniature wargaming channel. I'm going to close that gate. I've decided that you have to be like a weirdo with a beard if you want to open up a channel. No Stephen Box. Too sexy, cannot be. The entirety of Vanguard Tactics would not be here if I had decided that. If I had put up barriers. Whereas if you welcome people, if you encourage people, you never know what they're going to accomplish, and you never know what they're going to bring. So now, going back where I inspired Stephen to create his channel, I'm now at LVO going to be interviewed by him. And that kind of back and forth, that kind of community building is what makes us grow, what makes us become better human beings. So if you're sitting there and you're saying that, no, I have decided that the only right way to engage with this hobby is this, the only people that can engage with the hobby are like me, and I am going to prevent everyone else from doing so, you are doing yourself a disservice, you are doing this community a disservice, and you are creating more ill will in a world that already has too much of it. Open that gate, see who comes through, and see what it brings. Because at the end of the day, an event like CalmerCon is not going to make me a millionaire. But I left feeling better than I think I have ever felt leaving a convention. All because of my ability, the opportunity to reach out and welcome people into a hobby, into a world that I absolutely love, and see that love and enjoyment grow in them. And to me, that's better than any number of subscribers. That's better than any number of Patreon members. It's better than any number of likes, comments, subscribes. None of it matters. compared to that. So at the end of the day, this 10-year journey that I've been taking on this channel has led me to this, and that made it worth it because it was an amazing experience. And these kind of events, these kind of opportunities, these paint and takes that you can have, even at bigger conventions that aren't designed specifically to help grant access to people who wouldn't otherwise have it, just the ability to reach out and allow other people to explore, enjoy, and perhaps just like do something that they never thought that they could otherwise, to me, is perhaps my new goal. That's my goal. I want to create a world, create an environment, create a community that will welcome every single person that wants to be in it. I want every single person watching this video to know that you are worth it, that you can do this, that there is no barrier other than the ones that you set up. And if you try to set up barriers for other people, imagine if someone else had determined that you were not the right type to do this hobby. Imagine if you were not able to enjoy this hobby because someone else decided that you couldn't. And if you don't like that feeling, then don't do it to someone else. Open those gates. Say hi. Shake a hand. Look at what someone's working on and meet them where they are, not where they aren't. So if they don't have a perfect blend, don't criticize them. Talk about their color choice. Talk about the story that they're telling. Find out more about them. And then grow together. You know, since I joined the factory team, I've gotten to the opportunity to meet a ton of incredible people. And in particular, I've been able to meet some incredible painters that I normally hadn't had much interaction with because I was a gamer, and that's what I did. I only did gaming, and I only painted to get pieces on the table for gaming. But people like Sam Lenz, Caleb Wisenbeck, Kat Jackson on the Army Painter team, they welcomed me. Thomas Thomas and Stefan from home base at the Army Painter, they welcomed me. They didn't look at me and go, whatever, this idiot just paints tabletop standard. He just like throws things on the board. He doesn't even do highlights. Why should I bother caring about him? He doesn't do this hobby the right way. He shouldn't be a part of it. But instead, they welcomed me. They said, come aboard. We like you. Let's enjoy this hobby together. And since then, I was inspired to try harder at my painting. And I have come leaps and bounds in the time since I've been a part of the factory team, mostly because I was inspired to do more. Because there were people that already could who didn't put up a gate and instead opened a door. So now I'm trying to compete for best overall at tournaments. I'm entering pieces into painting competitions. All of those things are things that I never would have done or even thought about unless someone reached out a hand and said, why not? So be the force that you want. Be the person that drew you into the hobby. Because yes, the hobby itself draws us in, but if we're being honest, if we're presented that hobby by a jerk, we're probably not going to get involved. There's someone in your journey that made you want to keep going. There's someone in your journey that made you want to be part of it. There's someone in your journey who welcomed you, who opened the gates for you to come and join this community. Be that person. Be that person who welcomes others, who becomes the force that inspires another individual to pick up this hobby that we love, or try something new, or try something different. Maybe your friend only does base coats because that's all he thinks he can do. But then he looks at your painted model and goes, what if I could do that? What if they could? If you turn around and go, no, you're not a painter, just stick to your lane, they will never try. They will never try. But if you say, why not? Why don't we meet up on Wednesday night and we'll do a paint jam together? They may decide that they don't want to and go back to just the base coats, but they could turn around and start painting wonderful armies. All because you opened a door and provided them with an opportunity to be exposed to what it is that we do. Do I think every single person that came through those tables on Saturday is going to turn around and start painting for, Capital Palette? Do I think every single person that came through that door is going to turn around and now they are only going to play tabletop role-playing games with fully painted models? Do I think every single person that came through there will ever paint another model in their life? No. Do I think there are people that have now awoken to a new hobby? Absolutely. And I had them tell me as much. And I had parents tell me that their child is over the moon at the opportunity to do this. All because I decided to go to a convention that ostensibly didn't do anything for me career-wise, doesn't do anything for me for the channel, and open up the door for others to be able to enjoy this hobby. And to me, that's incredible. So go out there, support organizations like CalmerCon that are trying to open the door and provide access to people who would not already have it. Support the school programs where people form Warhammer clubs for children. Support people that are doing painting programs at the girls and boys clubs. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a link in the description. But the gentleman whose name I can't remember because that's how my brain works. But he won best painted army at the Bay Area Open when I judged it. And meeting him, Roman. He does a painting program with children at the Girls and Boys Club, and he's an amazing person. And he's providing access and opportunity to people that would not normally have access to this, or who traditionally wouldn't have access to this. And he's changing lives. So support them. You don't have to do that. If you don't have the time to go out and do it yourself, you don't have to now give up your life and become, a special ed teacher. But if you see these organizations doing these kind of outreaches, these kind of opportunities to provide access, to provide opportunity to people to get into this hobby, take it up. Maybe what you do is you support some of the organizations that are out there that use miniature painting to help with mental health. There are organizations that help everything from veterans to anybody across the board, across the gamut. I guarantee you can find an organization out there that you think is worthy of helping. And I don't care which one it is, do it. And it doesn't have to be monetary. You could just share their posts. Spread the word of what it is. Who knows? Maybe someone that's reading your stream on social media will see that post and they have the capacity to do something. If we just take the opportunities that we have, that we're presented with, to help others and grant access to others, then we are going to make this hobby and this community imminently better. So go do it. Be better. Make this hobby better. Make this community better. One step at a time. And stop trying to put up gates. Open them up. Let everyone in so that everyone can find a way to enjoy this hobby. And let me know down below in the description what you're going to be doing. Or maybe tell me, no, I want to hear the stories of how you got into the hobby. Tell me about the person that opened the gate for you. Tell me about the opportunities you were afforded to get into this. Because the more we spread those stories, the more we will realize that we are so much more alike. And I spoke too long for my camera. It turned off. So just know that you're amazing and keep that going and carry that conversation down below. I love to hear it because I now want to spread the love for the hobby, and the more opportunities we can, the better. Also, if you are taking your first steps in this hobby, if you are perhaps trying to expand it, if you want to get someone a starter set of paints to try it out. I am a member of the Army Painters Factory team, which provides a lot to me. But when I was signing on my contract, I wanted to make sure there was a way for me to give back to you, the people who watch this channel, and honestly, anyone. So feel free to give this out. The code that I have from them is Factory Geek 5, and if you go to the Army Painter and you put that in, you will save yourself 5% off of any of your orders. So if you know someone, your next door neighbor is a very precocious child that seems interested every time he sees you with your models, or it's a neighbor that an older gentleman who sees you and you're walking in with your models, or it's anybody. Maybe go out and you can get them a starter set of paints and to give them an opportunity to give a shot and enjoy this hobby that we do. And if you go, you get save yourself 5% off while doing so. It's also an affiliate code now. It wasn't originally, but it is now. So it's a way to help support the channel without costing you yourself anything more. So allowing everybody to try to do more. So I hope you all enjoy this. I certainly have, and I feel like I really have grown as a human being in this last week, and I hope that you can grow with me because it felt so good, and I want you to feel that too. So, until next time, stay safe, have fun, and help someone else have some fun.